What if I told you that rock bottom wasn't the end of your story, but the place where God begins to build? That same God who split the sea can still part the chaos in a man's soul. Take what the enemy meant for destruction and turn it into deliverance. Today's episode isn't about addiction. It's about redemption. It's about a father, a husband, and a son who walked through the fire and came out not smelling like smoke, but smelling like victory. My guest, Jason Comer, knows what it's like to lose everything. Meth addiction, jail time, broken trust, a marriage hanging by a thread, a father watching his family drift further and further away until God stepped in and flipped the script. From relapse to revival, from prison walls to church halls, from despair to discipleship, Jason's story proves that failure isn't final when grace gets involved. If you've ever felt so far gone, too damaged, or too deep in the mess to come back, this one's for you. Grab a seat. God's about to show you what real recovery looks like. Grab a mop, because today we're cleaning up the mess. Let's go. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to take a moment to let you guys know that Domestic Dad Project is more than just a podcast. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping fathers navigate sobriety, parenting, and personal growth. Our mission is to provide support, resources, and community for dads who want to break cycles, rebuild lives, and become the men their families need. If you'd like to support our work and help us continue to reach more fathers in need, consider donating at domesticdadproject.com. Every contribution helps us expand our programs and change more lives. So just wanted to thank you guys in advance for being part of this mission. Now, let's get into the episode. Has life gotten off track? Are you looking for some inspiration to be a better dad? People say all the time, I'd die for my kids. Okay. But would you live for them? Actually live? Get yourself healthy? Make better choices? Eliminate distractions? Would you lead them more intentionally? Would you get sober? Take better care of yourself, physically and mentally. You'd only have to die once. Your kids don't need you to die for them. They need you to live. Have you thought about getting sober, but you just didn't know where to start? If so, welcome to the Domestic Dad Podcast, your go-to destination for candid discussions on journeys into sobriety, parenting, and personal growth. I'm Nick Barnett, founder of the Domestic Dad Project. I've been a dad since I was 18 years old. I'm also a trauma survivor, an alcoholic, divorced, happily remarried, hardworking, humbled by life, domestic dad. On this podcast, you'll find interviews with people who have walked that path, including myself, coaches, mentors, and pastors who can help guide you on your journey. You're going to need resources and inspiration. You can find that here. This is the community for you to lean into so you can start living life as a domestic dad. So let's grab a mop and start cleaning up the mess. 2, 3.
Yes.
Yes. Jason Comer, thank you for blessing the Domestic Dad Podcast.
Rock, baby.
We're laughing because we just had like a 3-minute conversation before this puppy started, and I realized that I didn't hit the record button.
Take 2, baby.
What an amateur move, Nick Barnett. Come on, man. Dude, so thank you very much for blessing the podcast today. Truly it's an honor to have you come on and be a part of this. I just knew from the first time that we ever had a conversation that you were on the level and that me and you were going to be able to have a great conversation. I was like, dude, I got to have this guy on the show. Yeah. So thank you for doing that.
100% honored to be here. You know, like I said, I know your heart and I know the effort and the energy that you've put into this. And so I don't take this lightly. I mean, it's an honor to be here. I mean, just to join you here today, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah, so much. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's an honor for me as well. So I always start these in the same way, right? I kind of want to find out, like, what's the origin story? Where did Jason Comer come from? What was childhood like for you? So come on, man.
Yeah, man. The roots, childhood was a range of things, man. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. You know, my mom had me when she was 38 years old. So a little bit of a different dynamic than most, my parents divorced when I was 11 months old. So grew up without a father in the home. But I didn't really understand, really what that meant until I, became of age as an adult, So there were some challenges there with that. My dad, he actually lived in the Des Moines area.
Okay.
I think as we get into the story a little bit more, you'll understand. But I think my dad was trying to figure out a lot of things in his own life as well, for sure. And that will come up a little bit later. But yeah, my dad lived in Des Moines. I was a wild child. Poster child ADHD, like that was me, like no test needed, bro. Like no psychologist needed. That bro is wired for sound, And so my family, they actually nicknamed me Racer because I was on the move all the time,
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, that was childhood, with a single mom, just me and mom in the home.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
You said ADHD, right? So I was diagnosed with that somewhere around like the 3rd grade. Did you ever get medicated for that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Thankfully, when I was medicated, I would see a therapist. And it was actually a pretty decent experience. I had a really good guy, by the name of Dr. Ryan. He was really good in my life. He was good for me. And then he didn't put me on kind of like the medication, like what was it, Ritalin and all that stuff.
Yep,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
I was on a different medication called imipramine.
Okay.
And it was a little bit different, kind of a lower dosage, kind of a medication. I don't know if it had its effects or not, but yeah, I definitely was, I guess, clinically diagnosed ADHD and was on the medication the whole round. Yeah. I
can remember being a kid and like having to take that stuff. And I knew that it did something to me. And I think everybody else knew that it did something to me too. And there was always kind of like this little stigma around that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was a seed early, like, oh, I'm different. You know
exactly.
What I mean? Oh, I got to take this medicine to be normal, like everybody else. Oh, I'm not normal without like something synthetic.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that was just, I don't know, man. I'm an advocate of medicating kids in the correct ways, but like some of that stuff, man, I think that it plants seeds early, and it can create like, for me, anyways, it created a little bit of shame.
100%. I mean, just think about the kid that, that already has built that reputation in school, as the wild child or the one that can't sit still or, that's naughty. And then has to go take their meds, after lunch, you know what I mean? You're right. It does plant a seed and actually it's a negative self-image, as you grow up with, man, and you live with that for a while. You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Man. So, living without a father in the home, and a single mom, I really kind of did what I wanted. I ran the streets. I mean, obviously I had a curfew. I had a great mom. Don't get it twisted. I had a great mom, but I mean, just for example, for the first time I skipped school in the 3rd grade. I had a friend. I had a friend. He was in the 6th grade. I was in the 3rd grade.
Missed the bus on purpose.
So I walked to school. So mom didn't know. She thought I was just at school. You know what I mean? And we thought we were cool. Hey, let's go back into the Logan Woods and we'll play Uno. We'll play Uno until your parents leave, and then we'll go back and we'll play Nintendo. And that was our thing. And so, yeah, man, I was kicked out of school the first time in the 4th grade.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I had a nun for a teacher.
Me too.
Not good.
No,
not good. We did not mix.
Was it a disciplinary type thing?
Oh yeah.
So you came up in a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Me too.
Went to St. Mary's.
Yeah. Bless her heart. Like I would never, I'm not going to say her name, but there was a sister in my childhood that like I can remember running around playing on like the playground and just being wild. And I got snatched by my ear one time, just like, and like walked up to the wall. And that was like a scarring memory, man. I was like, dang, that sucked. Like, and you're just sitting up there like, dude, like, I don't know if anything else ever happened to you like that, but that's how I experienced the sisters at a very young age.
Literally, I have one story that I do remember in the 4th grade, and I was wild, you know what I mean? And I had a sister who obviously she was a disciplinarian. You know, sit down, shut up.
That's how they came up.
And that's how it was, right? And I remember one moment where she took me out there. She grabbed me by my arm and she took me out into the hallway and she says, "I suppose you're going to go home and tell your mom I'm being a bitch." And the 2 teachers from the other hallways popped their heads out the door and looked back. And I told my mom what she was doing.
Yeah. Of course you did.
Yeah.
You're in the 4th grade.
Of course.
You're defenseless.
Yes. Yeah.
Look what happened.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. So
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, man, that was kind of growing up. I was just wild. I was running. I played a lot of sports, things of that nature. I guess one of the things that my mom taught me early on, so when my mom was 44, she went back to college, and she wanted a better life for us. And so when she went back to college when she was 44, graduated when she was 48. But what that created though, is once she graduated, she got a job in her career, but I don't think it was the smartest choice for her to do so, because what it did is it left me unsupervised. It was this like floating schedule to where, like the 1 week it would just be a normal schedule. And then the next week it would be like Monday, Tuesday, she would work overnight. So I'm 10, 11, 12 years old at home alone. You know what I mean? And then she would have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then she'd work the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And that spanned throughout my entire high school career. So you can only imagine, no father in the home, mom really truly feeling like she's trying to do what's best for us, but just leaving Jay, unsupervised to really just do what he wanted to do.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
So I got 2 brothers and 1 sister. We're half brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We share the same mom, but I think when I was born, they were like 16, 17, 18 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay. So they're much older. You didn't have those guys in your childhood.
No influence by them either. They had already been out of the house. By the time I was older, they had already started families, and whatnot. So
during this period where it was just you and your mom, and she was going to work and you were staying home, were you getting like every other weekends with your dad, or was it just like no custody at all?
So no, my dad, he was present, definitely financially for sure. He supported financially. I could call my dad if I had questions. I wouldn't say it was an every other weekend, maybe once a month, maybe once every month. Maybe I would go down for a weekend. In the summertime. I would go down, maybe for a week or something like that, 2 weeks, something to that effect. But when I went to go visit my dad, it was cool because we would go hunting, we'd go fishing,
do boy stuff.
You know what I mean? I would sometimes have to go to work with my dad. I respected my dad, but he just didn't have that influence. But the thing is that when I was with him, we did all the fun stuff. So obviously he got all the, hey, I love being with my dad and, and hanging out with dad, things like that. But but there was also some negative things that he taught me too, while I was growing up. And as I say these things too, Nick, I'm going to say some negative things about, my past from my father. We've healed, since then. So
you've repaired a lot of it.
Yeah. We've repaired a lot of it. And like I said,
we're not bashing your dad today.
We're not bashing my dad, but I'm going to share my story though. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Because there's a story there, because I think my dad was trying to figure out some things as well. And I don't think he really quite knew what being a good example was. You know what I mean? I remember going to the bars with my dad, late at night, but that was when we were younger. That's, I think parents did that. Like that was kind of a normal thing, like to bring your kid to the bar.
Yeah.
I don't know. My mom worked at the bar. My sister worked at the bar, but I remember my dad would take me to the bar, and I thought it was cool because I got to play pool all night long. I got all the snacks I wanted. I got to play pool. I think I even remember one night driving my dad home when I was like 12, 13 years old, just hitting the gravel roads. You know what I mean? And like, I thought it was cool. But obviously I was probably helping a brother out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, just kind of mixed emotions there. Didn't quite understand what that meant. Yeah. Until an older age.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So 10, 11, 12 years old, you're staying at home with your mom. You've had some good stuff with your dad happen, right? Like you've had some connection points.
Yeah.
So, so what was like grade school and school like at that point?
Grade school. So I was what you would call book smart. So school was fairly easy to me. And you have to understand too, that when in my earlier years, my mom was going to college. And so things were kind of fresh in her and learning on how to rate papers, how to study. And so that was kind of getting implanted into me and my education as well. And so school was kind of easy. Plus she was helping me with studying and writing papers, not helping me, but just guiding me on how to do those types of things. So school was easy. And I was that type of kid where, I would get done with my work really early and then now it's time to play.
Yeah.
And that's when I would get into trouble. Yep. So athletic, I excelled in sports, in pretty much all the sports that I played. Not that I was the greatest by any means, but, within our group, we were pretty good at what we did. Predominantly wrestling and basketball were the two that we just loved to do. Yeah.
Wrestling was, yeah.
So grade school was fun. I would say it was fun. I had a lot of fun. Did kind of what I wanted to do. I probably, my mom, that poor thing. I
think the same thing, man. Like I think back about like, kind of the stuff I put my mom through and I just shake my head. I'm like, dude, Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
So,
seriously, man.
Yeah.
So yeah. Man, I remember my dad and my mom, they decided when I'd go visit my dad, when I was like starting at like 10, 11 years old, they would put me on the Greyhound bus. They would like, literally, that's probably terrible parenting, but you know, to save themselves some money and some time, you know what I mean? I would get put on a Greyhound bus in Waterloo, and then my dad would pick me up in the one in Des Moines.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. So just lots of time alone, man.
Yeah.
And, which, yeah. Any more questions on that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, 13, 14, definitely spending a lot of days and weeks alone. I started smoking pot at 13.
Yeah. I was going to ask, when did like the extracurricular euphoria, chasing, you know, dabbling in it? Because for me, like, I think I took my first drink of alcohol when I was like 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I got drunk the first time that I tried it.
Yep.
Because it was like a liquor cabinet, like break in is what I would call it. Like I broke into the liquor cabinet and I was, you know, I was drunk.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me about the first time that you used weed.
Gosh, I think it was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, just, I had a buddy of mine who knew a buddy
Yep.
who had it. And I just, for me, man, if it looked like it was fun, I was in, you know, hey,
try anything twice.
I would try anything. I was just that kid, you know, living the edge, you know? And, so yeah, I mean, that was the first time. Don't know if I even really enjoyed it or not. I'm not quite sure. I just wasn't quite sure what to know, what to feel, but obviously I repeated it and continued through that time, you know? So I'm, man, 13, 14 years old. That's the 8th grade, bro. 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
Smoking pot. And then I would start buying my own. I'd go out in the garage when mom was gone, you know, and start smoking there. And so, yeah, that obviously really started to change my association, you know, in who I was running with and who I was tagging along with. And obviously that just got progressive, you know, through time, you know, and eventually once I got into my high school years, you know, that became more important. You know, running with the crew, smoking, drinking, partying, that became
culture pressure.
Oh man, 100%, you know, that became way more important than athletics. You know, that became way more important, all those things. And I gave a lot of those things up, you know, due to my association. And, I guess one thing I will say, I kind of want to backtrack just a tiny little bit. I remember in my childhood, you know, when I would go outside and I would maybe play basketball, or if I was at like a basketball hoop and I was by myself, I remember like trying to perform at my highest level because I wanted so bad for somebody to notice me. I just wanted somebody to notice me. I wanted somebody to come over to me and say, man, you're pretty talented. Why don't you come be a part of our team? Or, hey, you're pretty good. Hey, can I help guide you a little bit more and help you to make you better? And
you had a yearning for connection.
I did. I had a yearning for a father.
Yeah. I
really did. I had a yearning for a father. I had a yearning for somebody to come alongside of me and say, hey man, you're good enough. Let me show you how to do this thing called life.
Yeah.
And, I didn't really quite understand what that meant until just recently. I was talking to my wife about it. And, I think that played a pivotal role in just wanting to get noticed.
Dude, you might have seen me get emotional over there a little bit because like, that's like, you really did just hit the nail on the head for, you know, when I think that's it, you know, you just want connection. You want somebody to be your role model. You want somebody to be, your dad more often than the one that you had the opportunity to be with, you know, that yearning for connection. I mean, that kind of struck a chord with me. I've never really been able to put like words on that feeling, but I think a lot of kids that, you know, have parents that have separated, are looking for that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we act out negatively to get it.
Yep.
Because just being us isn't good enough, or it hasn't gleaned the result that we're looking for. Right. Yeah. So there's like this emptiness or this like wanting to be something more.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that those moments of wanting to get noticed and wanting to have somebody by my side or to have somebody to guide me. I mean, that lasted all the way up through adulthood, even into parenting.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're talking about my childhood right now, but just, we can come back to this in a second, but Like it was just recently, a couple months ago, I was having a conversation with my son Daniel, and we're just talking, and like I could tell that he wasn't responding to what I was saying. And he's like, you know what, Dad, you don't always have to have a lesson every time you talk to me. Why can't you just listen?
Number one things that kids always say that parents do or don't do enough of, and that's listen.
Yeah. And he's like, why don't you just listen? Because I made a comment to him. I was like, how come you and Mom have better conversations than this? How come you respond better to Mom? He says, because Mom actually sits down, she talks with me, and she listens. He says, every time I come to you about something, you have to say, well, if it was me, I would do this, or
Advice,
hey, maybe
Dad.
you should think about this. And it hit me, dude, in that moment. And we had a moment together where I started to cry, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm so sorry, Daniel. Like it hit me. I was like, man, I grew up without a dad in the home, and I've always felt like, man, like I've just got to put you in the best position. I want to give you everything that I missed out on. And so I'm so sorry.
I want to shape you at every turn.
Exactly. And this whole time I've been missing out on relationships.
Yeah.
And I just
too much correction, not enough connection.
Yes. I thought I was being a good dad, but man, I just wasn't there. The connection wasn't there. The relationship wasn't there where it should be, man, because I wanted to give him all the lessons. Man.
Write that down.
It's crazy, man. It would take, I was 10 years old when I had those moments of wanting to get noticed. And I finally didn't figure out what it was until I was like 43 years old.
Yeah.
In that moment. Bam.
Takes a lifetime.
It's crazy.
So hopefully somebody who's listening to this, stay away from advice, Dad.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's okay
Listen.
to give advice every now and then.
Yeah.
It is okay to give advice, but just don't do it all the time. You don't have to be that dad, man.
Yeah.
It's okay to listen, because our kids, they're gonna follow our example way more than they ever follow the things that we say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a mentorship role. It's an example role.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is a verse in the Bible in Romans. Is it 12:2? Romans 12:2.
Yep. To
be transformed by the Holy Spirit. Don't conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed.
Yep.
So then you can test what's right and good.
Yep.
And I think that translates, right? Like to be transformed by the example that you see.
Yep.
Don't conform to, people don't conform to words. People will be transformed by what they see as good.
Yep.
So I don't know. There might be a lesson in that.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Paul was good.
Come on. Yeah.
Paul knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going, man.
Yeah. So, nothing was really normal in my life at this point, except for what I thought was normal. Just partying, smoking, drinking, just running with the wrong crowd.
Yep.
Man, just nothing was normal. And my mom sensed it, and she seen it. And finally she said, you're going to live with your dad. I can't control you anymore. You got to go. And so by the end of my sophomore year, I hadn't quite finished my sophomore, because at this point, man, it was my sophomore year. We're just coming out of basketball. I think I quit. It was crazy. I got voted team captain my sophomore year basketball. You know what I mean? I gave it up for addiction, choices, association, man. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was the best player, but I was the hardest worker.
Yeah.
I don't say that pridefully. It's just that's how I got voted captain, because I was the hardest worker on the court. Not because I was the best, but I threw that away, and she seen the writing on the wall, and she knew where it was going. And so she said, I can't do this anymore. You're going to live with your dad. So the end of my sophomore year, I pack up and I go down and I live with my dad, man.
Wow.
And yeah.
So what came next?
I was actually, there was a part of me that was kind of excited for it, because I wanted change. I knew that the path that I was on was not good. I wanted change. I wanted structure.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted good association. And, I have half sisters that live down there. Obviously my dad remarried. And so I've got 3 half sisters down there. I had a really good relationship with 2 of them, Carrie and Chrissy. And Chrissy was still in high school as well. I think she was a junior getting ready to be a senior, or maybe she was a senior. So I was going to be going to the same high school as her. So I knew she could kind of help me figure out things, and, but it was the first time that I've really had any good accountability.
Yeah.
You know, I got back into the gym. I got back with the football team. So over the summertime, I was working with the football team. It was the first time I'd ever lift weights. You know, I was getting bigger and I'm wearing smaller shirts, and you know what I mean? I was proud of myself. You know, I was doing things differently. And I remember, I almost started hanging out with the wrong crowd again. And I remember my sister coming up to me and she said, Jason, you left that life. Like, don't come here and go back to it. Those aren't the people that are going to put you in the right position, you know? And, that meant something to me. And so I found some good people to be around. And I got a job. I was working. Man, back then, remember like the minimum wage was like $5.15 an hour.
And then went to $7.25.
Seriously, man, during that time when it was like $5.15, you made $8 an hour in Des Moines. So I was balling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I remember that. If you had an $8 job, you were doing good.
Seriously, I was balling. I was making a ton of money, which I felt like at the time. And so yeah, life was good. I was making money. I was on the football team. And school was getting ready to start up my junior year. And I went out on my own recognizance, spent a little bit of money on my savings. I wanted a CD player in my car.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad completely disagreed with it. He wanted me to continue to keep saving my money. I had enough money in my bank account to where it wasn't going to hurt me to buy a $200, $300 CD. So I bucked him. I'm like, I'm sorry, bud, but I earned that money and I'm going to go spend my money. You're not going to tell me what to do with that. You can help guide me in saving it and all that stuff, but you're not going to do that. And so we got into a pretty big argument. And I remember the moment he comes out, we got into this argument, and I mouthed off to him, and I remember he busted me. And then I ran back into the house. And then
was that the first time that ever happened?
First time.
Yeah.
First time. Ran back in the house. More of an altercation happened. He chased me out the house, grabbed the steering wheel, yanked it out, man. And I remember driving, to my friend's house with a wobbly steering wheel. And I'd never experienced anything like that before, like ever in my life.
Yeah, it was a very traumatic moment.
Yeah, because my childhood at my mom's house, I mean, we were all close. They're very lovey family. I love you. You're amazing. You're doing great. Very, very close, loving family. And so this was the complete opposite. And so this was the first time I'd ever experienced like physical abuse. I mean, he didn't like beat the crap out of me. It was still wrong, but I would like to think that's probably how he grew up.
Yep.
And so when he got in that moment where there was his child was being disobedient in a way that was I was flexing on him pretty hard. That's what that turned to. And so I ended up pressing charges because I didn't know what else to do. And then a part of me, it's kind of weird because I went into my dad's like wanting structure, but then when that moment happened, I think subconsciously I thought this is my chance to go back home.
Yeah. Yeah. Forget that. Like, I didn't want that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like now I'm going to, and here's the other thing that probably happens too. You did that to me and now I'm going to make you pay for it.
Yep.
I'm going to remove myself from your life. I'm going to create distance between me and you.
Yep.
And run away from the authority.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you did that, what happened?
Like I said, I pressed charges. That went down like that. And then I went back home. And then just things spiraled right back down to the gutter pretty fast.
Yeah.
I came back home. My mom asked me, she goes, do you want to go back to Columbus or do you want to go to West High? I want to go to West.
Yeah.
I want to go to West. Mm-hmm. And the moment I got to West, I realized how fast I did not have to stay inside those walls.
Yeah.
I was gone. I could have, with my credits that I had, I could have graduated kind of like halfway through my senior year, just from transferring from Columbus to West.
Yep.
And but I blew it, man. I blew it.
I went to East my senior year, so I was in a very similar situation.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just right back into the old habits.
Yep.
Smoking
weed at noon.
Probably earlier than that.
Yeah.
Probably earlier than that.
Going to school high.
Oh, 100%, for sure. There was no other way.
Yep.
And then, I was arrested for the first time when I was about 17. Possession of marijuana. A couple of friends of mine, we went down to Cedar Rapids, hotel room, alcohol, the whole nine. They were 18. I was 17. And so they
So you got loud in the hotel room when the cops came?
and it stunk
Yep.
like trees.
Yep.
So it was like the week before they started doing these random hotel checks where like the police would just walk through random hotels and they smelt it. They came up there. My mom had to drive all the way down to Cedar Rapids to come pick me up. Yeah, that was not a fun ride home.
No.
And then shortly after that, I got arrested for 3rd-degree burglary. I broke into somebody's car. Just thought I needed their CD player really, really bad.
Yeah.
You know, man. And so then they put me on this thing called so when I was on probation, I never did what I was supposed to do. I would drop dirty. I would not show up. I just rules just didn't apply to me.
Yep.
You know, they just really didn't. And eventually, after all the violations, they finally put me on this like youth offenders program to where I was like, I'm getting close to 18 and I still haven't finished my probation from 17. And they're like, okay, bro, like if you don't finish this out, we're just going to charge you as an adult.
Yeah.
And this will follow
That's a
you.
big problem.
It's a big problem.
But you don't realize it in the moment how big of a problem it is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people when they get faced with that, they're like, yeah, well, how much is that going to change my life? You have no idea how much it's going to change your life as you get older. Was in a similar situation to that. So yeah, man, I was able to clear my record and all that stuff before I turned 18. But yeah, there was situation where rules didn't apply to me either.
Man, hindsight's 2020, isn't it?
So did you get your probation cleared?
No.
No. Okay.
No way. No, I ended up getting charged as an adult. And then once again, another thing of probation. So man, there was just multiple times in and out of jail, you know, from probation violations. And man, Black Hawk County, I tell you what, I'm not trying to talk trash on them, but man, they would put a no bond hold on me for dropping dirty. So I would have to spend 3 months in county jail for probation violations.
That's wild.
It is, you know what I mean? And like, but no, how do I word this? Cause I don't want to make this sound like I'm having a victim mentality. I really don't. I just think the system's jacked when it comes to rehabilitation. I really do. I think it is. I think it's set up for failure in a lot of cases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But at the same time, it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
I think the system needs more mentorship.
Yeah.
I think you need more positive role models, people who have, like you and I, who have gone through some of the bullshit and then come out the other side, interacting with younger people to show that. I think that's part of this whole thing. You know what I mean? I think that's what the hope for this whole thing is we can touch lives in that way too, right? There's some mentorship here.
Yeah, 100%.
Because nobody's reaching out and offering it. You know what I mean? Like it's not provided.
Right.
I haven't seen it yet anyways.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah, but that's kind of like the beginning of my God story though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when you get into jail, man, what's the only thing to read?
The Bible.
The Bible, right? And so what do? I mean, I'm bored, you know, I just there's a lot of time in your cell in Black Hawk County. And
where'd you start?
New Testament. I stayed in the New Testament. I would pretty much read through that whole thing. I never read Revelation. I never did that. But as I started picking up the Bible, just the concepts just made sense to me, especially like in James, you know, the quick, slow, you know, be quick to listen, you know, and
slow to get angry.
Yeah. Slow to get angry.
Slow to respond.
Yeah. And just a lot of the concepts, it just logically made sense to me, you know, so the Spirit was working on me. He was working on me. And it wasn't in those moments where like there was like a transformation, but like I could sense that, you know, the words were playing out in my head and it made sense. And I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to do with that information, but it felt good reading it. Mm-hmm. You know, it felt good reading it. So
how old were you at this time?
Gosh, 19.
Yeah.
You know, 18, 19, 20 years old, you know, through that, you know, period of life, those 3 years for sure. Yeah, in and out. So I would go to like the Bible study thing, you know, and check that out and still didn't quite know what to do with it. I remember I would, Heartland Vineyard,
mm-hmm.
They used to, you could let them know you were in jail and they would send you the Sunday sermons. So you could.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
It was so cool, man. And like, I grew up Catholic, right? And so, like,
Me too.
I'm not dogging Catholics.
No, me either. I love Catholic people, man.
I love Catholic people.
It's a little ritualistic. That's all.
Just a little different. Now that I'm older and I understand.
Just got tired of it, man.
Seriously.
You spice up my life a little bit with my faith.
Bro, let me raise my hands.
I love you guys, but you know. That's all.
Yeah.
And my knees can't take it anymore.
Oh, that's
too much kneeling.
Especially after surgery.
Yeah, especially after hip replacement.
Shit.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, they would send me these sermons, and it was like, wow, that's like not only like biblical principles, but it's like life stuff.
Yeah,
like real life. Like I could apply this not just to a relationship with Jesus, but I could apply this to my entire life. And so I started kind of getting infatuated with reading these scriptures. And I got, when I was in the first time that I was in the halfway house, I got linked up with this dude named Reggie Hovenga. Okay. I don't know if you ever met him before. No. He was over at Heartland Vineyard, and he used to, they used to play this Sunday night basketball. They would just get together, you know, shoot some hoops. And, I don't know, he's just a cool guy. Well, eventually he had found out that I went back to jail one time, and he came to visit me, and he was the first person that ever started to talking about the gospel to me. And I'll never forget him for doing that. You know, he came and visited me in jail, man. Man, it's Matthew 25:40, man.
The connection that you were yearning for. Somebody finally was like, "Hey, let me pour into you a little bit."
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so he told me about the gospel, and he visited me, I think, once or twice. But whenever I see him, I still remember it to this day, because I know that was an impact in my life during that time. And anyways, long story short, ended up, I had to go back to the facility. And
when you say the facility, you mean the men's halfway house?
Yes, the men's halfway house. Sorry.
Got it.
And I never got to do like the shortcut thing, man. They always made me do the whole thing, like the 4-month inside. You're not going anywhere. You can work and you can come back, you know, kind of deal. And so I'm in there, and I'm just about wrapped up. I mean, I'm on like 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And a guy in there has this great and wonderful idea that he's going to bring a bottle of liquor in. And we drank. It was just a small one. We had a couple shots, and CO came around to do to room checks and smelled alcohol, and they tested us and cuffed me that night. Sent me back to jail. That's a Class D felony in Iowa. And so it's called introducing intoxicants to inmates. It's a threat to staff is what they call it. So they hit you with the felony on that. And so I spent 3 more months in the county jail, and they sent me to prison. Yeah. Yeah, I ended up going to Fort Dodge.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy, man. So here I am.
What was prison like?
So I was in a program called the Rivers program.
Okay.
It was essentially kind of like a boot camp / mixed with classes.
Yeah.
So you weren't necessarily mixed with the general population. Like you had some interactions every now and then, but you kind of had your own little pod where those group of guys that were in. So in the morning time, we would get up and we would do PT. And we would, obviously, push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, running, jogging, that whole thing, working on the physical body. And then in the afternoon, or in the afternoon, then we would work on classes. So whatever it was, some type of, rehabilitation, addiction,
sure,
things of that nature, trying to help rehabilitate, them. So I was in there for 4 months. The scariest part for me was when I first went down, and I went into booking, because that's when you're in Gen Pop, like with all the rest of the people. And I'll never forget, it really hit me when I was sitting across the table from a dude that I found out that like murdered like 2 people. And it's like, man, I'm
not in here with normal people.
I'm not in here with normal people. I'm like, I was like, I had a couple of drinks of alcohol, man.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary.
Had you, like done any other drugs at that point in your life?
Oh yeah. We skipped that whole thing for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I introduced myself to meth at 17.
Okay.
Yeah. 17 years old. Yep. First time I got high on meth. Yep.
Okay. So you've had years of like the ins and outs of meth addiction at that point.
Yeah.
Too.
All the drugs, meth, coke, you name it, all of them, predominantly meth at this point, for sure. Meth and marijuana. Yeah. From the age of 17 all the way up.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. 100%. So, had to do my prison sentence. So yeah, I had 3 months in jail, 3 to 4 months in jail. Then I had about 3 to 3.5 months in the halfway house. Then I had another, then I got arrested again. I had another 3.5 months, in jail. Then I had another 4 or 5 months in prison. Then I had to get back out and do the facility or the halfway house again. So there was like this span of almost 2 years of I was in some sort of lockup facility just because I couldn't make good choices.
Yeah. You don't have any kids at this point?
No.
Okay.
No kids.
Yep.
No kids. So get through prison. I get through prison and I get back out in the halfway house and I graduate this time. I had a job. I was working at Tyson. I had money in the bank.
I did my stint at Tyson.
Seriously, you're not a real Waterlooan if you have.
Yeah, that's what that's. Yes, I agree.
At Tyson, cutting 100%. Some meat or stacking some.
You were a hot side or a cold side guy?
Seriously, I was a cold side.
I was a hot side guy.
Oh man, nasty. Man.
Yeah, it was gross, dude.
Work over.
I was a top floor head inspection, so I had a hand skinner and a knife. I had to cut off abs. It was gross, dude. It was mad respect to the people who can do that and go to work every day and face that as a, I couldn't. So I tapped out. Yeah. Anyway, that's my story. That's as far as I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, literally, I'm right with you, man. It's challenging. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Side note, as I'm kind of sharing my story, I was, I'm thinking like it seems like there's so much negative. You know what I mean? It just there's an end to the story, but man, it seems like there's just so much negative when you're sharing, your story like this, and it gets challenging sometimes, because you kind of reflect back on life.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, like really, like you could have done better than that. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, like we're going to get to a good point. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm with you. I know. Cause I know who you are today.
It just seems like it's so drawn on. We're like halfway there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like barely halfway there, but so yeah, man, I get out of that halfway house facility, and what does a good old addict do?
Yeah, find something to use.
Find some, man. Find some, and you just get back in it. You get back into the game. This time it was just 100% meth. All in. That's what I was doing.
Did you struggle with alcohol addiction in a way? Like I struggle with alcohol addiction. Like that was something for me where I would get I would drink, I would make bad choices, I would ruin relationships, I would neglect my responsibilities as a father, I would show up late to work, I would completely like ruin relationships because of like my alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
Did you struggle with that in that way, or was it more meth for you?
It was more meth. I definitely used alcohol for sure. I mean, parties, drinking. I wasn't a beer guy. I mean, if we're gonna drink, we're gonna drink a fifth.
Yep.
We're gonna get wasted. Because I was an all-in guy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You don't drink to have to quench your thirst. You drink to hit the bottom of the bottle.
Not gonna just have a good time to catch a buzz and go home and catch a nap.
Going all the way.
We're going all the way in. We're gonna see what we can get into tonight.
Yeah.
So would I say at that time there was alcoholism? I don't know. It was more meth than anything.
Yeah.
I struggled more with alcohol later in my addiction.
Gotcha.
Because that's what would start the meth.
Yep.
So I would convince myself that I could have a couple of drinks. Like it wasn't a big deal. You know what I mean? I could have a couple of drinks, man. It's not that big of a deal. I can go, just kind of cool out, chill out just a little bit. And, I could do that maybe 2 or 3 times. But then after maybe that 3rd or 4th time, I'd want another drink. And then I'd want another drink. And then at that point, that's when the thinking began to change. That's where the justification began to change. That's where, hey, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if I left. It wouldn't be that big of a deal if I try to get a hold of that guy and see what's up. I'm just going to go say what's up to him. You know what I mean? And then eventually I would just find it. and I would use again and I would relapse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So alcohol was my, I don't know how you word that. It was my gateway.
Yeah.
You know, during the later times of when I was truly trying to recover and trying to get sober and, and clean from meth, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you like when you'd use?
Ah, man. Just not me, you know, just not me.
Yeah. There's who you are. And then there's what you become when you use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude. Oh.
It's crazy. I mean, like, you know, I think about some of the choices and the things that like I put my family into, you know, I mean, like I would never do that today, you know, leaving my kids or, there wasn't a choice that wasn't bad enough for me to second guess it.
Mm-hmm.
I just did it,
mm-hmm.
You know, so all rationalization, responsibility out the door. You don't think long-term, you think right now, here in the moment, you know, what can I do right now? What sounds like fun? What can I do in this very moment? And responsibility and children and things of that nature do not sound appealing to the addict.
No.
Yeah.
Those are roadblocks.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
How do we get rid of those so we can go and dive into our addiction?
Seriously.
And have a good time.
Yeah. And have a great time.
And then maybe, you know, ruin somebody's life while you're at it.
100%.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I would say that, you know, probably I don't regret what happened in my life. Probably my only regret is the people that I hurt.
Yeah.
Because this made me the man that I am today. I wish I would have got it together a lot sooner. Of course I do. But I'm the man that I am today because of the scars that I carry. But I'm just, I sometimes I have to really, you know, just take a deep breath, maybe let out a tear every now and then of the scars that I gave other people.
Me too, man.
Including my children.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. That's the hardest part, you know, is, my buddy Rich told me one time, he goes, it's not the, it's the scars, and it's the scars that other people wear because of you too.
Yeah.
Right. It's the scars that we create.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. My kids, my wife.
That's the shit nobody wants to talk about, but you have to remember who you were to be who you are.
You do. You have to remember those. You got to think.
There's a contrast there, because now as a recovered addict, you can say that's what one drink would do. That's what one usage will do to me. Like if I even think about getting away with it and hiding it, you know, like doing it and hiding it, that's what one time can lead you to.
Yeah.
Is all that brokenness all over again. And nobody wants to go back there.
Nope. Because
I know what happens there. Yeah. I know where that road goes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then God forbid that you just lose everything that you currently have.
God forbid you lose your connection with God again.
Man. Legit. Yeah. Yeah. Staying connected to the vine is truly the only pathway for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was it, man.
It's a narrow pathway.
It is.
As John describes it.
It's super narrow. You know, it's hard. You know what I mean? Dude, it's hard being an addict. And it's hard making that choice too sometimes as well. But like I've heard before, choose your hard.
Yeah.
Which hard do you choose?
Yeah. So, and that's it though, man. That's the, gosh, it's because you're still, because as an addict, you still walk next to people who can use, right? Like, and you know that people do. You can see that they have this wide range of being able to do some of this. I still have a lot of friends that drink. You know what I mean? A lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't have many friends that use drugs that I know of.
Yep.
But I have a lot of friends that still drink. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh man, sometimes I wish I could do that, but I can't. I know my boundaries are here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The euphoria that I get to experience in life is natural euphoria that I get from holding my daughter.
Yep.
Or playing catch with my son.
Yep.
Or calling my son and checking in with him and listening to how his day was. That's where my euphoria comes from today, opposed to like all the other stuff that I used to do.
Yeah.
Know? So
yeah. I like how you touched on that, man. How you said like you had to think things through, you know what I mean? And like had to really play the whole tape out. And like that doesn't just happen like overnight. There isn't like a day where you just wake up and you're like, man, I'm going to make better choices, and you just do. It's like this progressive thing that happens through time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You making the hard decision one time, like, and it's hard. And sometimes it feels like the devil is absolutely grabbing your face
100%.
and trying to throw it into some trash. You know what I mean? But like, man, this might be a message for somebody out there, man. You've got to be patient with yourself. You've got to be patient with yourself and going through some of those hard times, because it's hard. It truly is. But I can promise you that it does get easier. It does get easier. It may not always go away. Because old things come up every now and then for me, just like you just said. Like it may not always go away, but consistency plus predictability over time equals trust. And that's trust with other people. And then you can trust yourself too. And then you can start looking into the mirror and being proud of that man that you are.
Say that one more time.
Consistency plus predictability equals trust.
Consistency plus predictability.
It's actually like a fraction. So it's C plus P over T equals trust.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Rehab.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, man, you've been to a class that I haven't been to, bro. That's an equation you don't pick up in school, man. But you learn it because it applies, and you remember it so well because it's real, right? And that's something that you have now. You know what I mean? That's an equation that you get to apply to your life every single day.
Yeah.
And know that you're living it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yep. Anyway.
100%.
Yeah. Well, we went down that rabbit hole.
We did. We're going to have a few more of those. Those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Let's keep going.
So I get out of the halfway house I'm using, and this is when I meet my wife, my future wife.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crazy story, so I'm going to share it. And so I'm over at a buddy's house, right? And we're doing our meth thing, whatever. And he says, "Hey, man, we're going to hang out with a couple girls later on. You cool with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And it wasn't like, "Hey, we're going to go hang out with these girls." You know, it was just more of a friend thing, you know? And at least that's the impression that I got of it. And well, my buddy ends up falling asleep. And I'm thinking, man, we're going to go hang out. You know, I'm up. And my bro falls asleep. Yeah, I'm ready to rock, do things. You know what I mean? And his phone rings. And I don't know these girls at all. Like, I remember he mentioned their names, but I don't know these girls at all. So, and then it rings again. And I look down, and it was the caller ID was one of the girls. And so I grabbed his phone and I picked it up. And I'm like, "Hey, this isn't Casey, but this is Jason. Is this Bree?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, I know we don't know each other. But I was the other guy that was going to come hang out with you guys, you know, with Casey. And I'm up. And if you are too, I just like to hang out, maybe do something. I like to get out of the house, and I'm not looking to do anything stupid, just kind of hang out. And anyways, a few hours later, we were hanging out, man. And
that's awesome.
I just think if I would have never,
there was something there that pulled you all together. Man, that's
we know what it was.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, we met, and I remember we met, like we pulled up at the same time. You remember that come and go on the corner of San Martin and Kimball? Remember that come and go? It was right across the street from Tropical Smoothie.
Yep.
Right there.
What's a yes? Something
it's a yes
now.
way now, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, met there. She needed air in her tires, and remember I said,
"You know how to do that."
I did. and I said some stupid like
flex.
I did. I was like trying to have. I thought that was back in the day when you thought you had to have game and say these like suave things. Like
it's poetic.
Like,
I'm gonna fill your tire up with air.
I'm like, yeah, this is how I roll. You wash, I rinse. You know, it's like that, dude. I was like,
I'm gonna ask your wife about that. You wash, I rinse.
You're gonna have to. Like, and I think she probably gave me that, you know, that dog look, you know, and they kind of okay, all right, but after that we hung out and we were inseparable. And and then let me see, a couple, like maybe a week later after that, maybe less, I ended up meeting her son. And the crazy story behind that is that I was going to die on the hill that I would never be with a woman that already had a child.
Yeah.
I had made that decision at a young age. Like I did, like, and so that's the crazy God story behind it too. Man, he was just this cool little blonde haired kid. You know,
how old was he?
He was 3 at the time.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was 3. And poor kid had never ran through a mud puddle. He was being raised by a single mom too. And we were down in Cedar Falls, and it's raining outside, and she's like, no, no. And I said, let that boy run through that mud puddle.
Don't be a boy.
And he just was, oh man, he was all boy that day, muddy, dirty. I don't know. It was just cool moments like that, you know? And, so we were still kind of using for sure. And then she ends up getting pregnant with Daniel, and, she got clean and sober, obviously, immediately. Like that day, that moment, you know, that moment. Thank God. Thank you, baby. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Shout out to Bree.
Yeah, seriously. Huge shout out to all the moms. I mean, I want to just give a huge shout out to all the mamas. We couldn't do without you.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. If mamas are listening. But.
Yeah, the producers of our lives.
Yes.
Literal producers of our lives.
Boss chicks. So, but I didn't get clean. Ended up going back to jail.
Did that create some challenges inside your relationship?
Yeah.
Obviously you went back to jail, but like that's
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because you're not being responsible with me. You're not on the same team. You didn't commit the way that I committed. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we stayed together. At least we tried to.
Yeah.
The best we could. Probably me going to jail was the best thing to happen. And at this point, you know, they're talking, dude, you're going back. You're going to finish out your sentence. You know, because at this
Which
point,
was how much more?
So it was 5. The Class D felony was 5 years, and the third degree burglary that I got charged at finally as an adult was 2 years. So it was ran together. They I think they call it rail card or something. So it was 7 years total. So I was probably going to go back for 1.5 years, 2 maybe. And once again, I'm back in jail, and I'm picking that Bible back up, you know, and doing my thing. I mean, I've got a kid on the way. Like, life just starts to really hit me, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, you got to get your shit together. Like, she's got a boy who's looking to you. You know, you got a son on the way. I mean, you're probably going to get married, you know. Bro, you've got to change some things. Like, literally. And that was kind of a progressive thought, you know, for a while, of just, you got to change. You got to change. And I would write about change.
And that seed was in you.
It was.
Yeah.
And there was a moment, in my jail cell. I was all alone. It was late at night, and I'm reading my Bible, and something came upon me, which now I know is the Holy Spirit. And I never forget, man, I hit my knees, and I just put my arms out wide, and I said, God, I need you. I need you so bad, God. I can't do this without you. I need you so bad. I need you. And I just remember crying and crying and crying and crying. And I know now that was the Holy Spirit, because like nobody really like led me to Jesus, but he did. His word did. His word, his spirit, my desperation to change so bad. And about a month later, we get word that they were going to let me out on probation again. And the judge even literally said, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I feel like you just need one more shot, you know, to get this right. You got a kid on the way. You got things going on, you know, in life that I feel like you can do better at. And that was my shot. I got out and ended up getting married. A few months after that, you know, adopted Dylan. So he's a coma.
Made it legal.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Package deal.
How was that? What was that experience like? The adoption?
The adoption was easy. It was simple.
I don't mean from like a legalistic standpoint, but from like when you're in the courtroom and you get to say, yeah, I'm going to take this kid on for the rest of my life. He's mine.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was cool, man. You know, it was cool because I just knew it was a package deal. You know, all of us together. You know, I knew it wasn't just going to be me and Bree, and then we're going to add Dylan onto it. And I wouldn't say there was like this really cool moment then, but when Dylan was about 10 years old, because he didn't really know, like we didn't like tell him anything. He didn't know any different when he was younger, because right when the adoption was getting ready to happen, you know, like grandma and grandpa and mom were all saying, calling me dad. You know what I mean? Because that's what I was gearing up to be, was dad. And so he wasn't calling me Jason anymore. He was calling me dad. But when he was about 10 years old, 10 or 11, just kind of a little bit more of an age of accountability. I remember, and this is, a lot of this was Bree's idea too. You know, I don't put this on me, but it was Bree's idea, but it was a cool moment. You know, I walked up into his room and I just said, "Hey, Dylan, I just want to let you know that, you know how there's a mommy and a daddy, and that's how they make a baby, right?" And he goes, yeah. He says, "Well, I just want to let you know that I wasn't the daddy that helped make you. Like, I am your father, but that wasn't me. But I just want to let you know that all the rest of the kids, I didn't have a choice in." I was like, "But I got to choose you. I got to choose you, son." And I don't think he really knew what the moment was. I was bawling, I'm crying, you know what I mean? Because it truly was a special moment. I would say that.
That's a great way to put it, man.
So like I said, it wasn't like there was something special in that moment that happened in the courtroom when we got the adoption finalized. It was probably that moment that was like, this is real now. Mm-hmm. Not that it wasn't leading up to that, but it was just like, then he knew, because we were never going to keep it from him. So, yeah.
Yeah, so good. I got to choose you.
Yeah, I got to choose you. Because I didn't get to choose those other knuckleheads.
They were surprises.
They were. Yeah. So, but man, dude, life was good. Like, life took a 100% 180 different direction. Man, we're seeking after God. We're going to church on Sundays. We're trying to live out our best life. Oh man, I'm working hard. Man, we're just doing our best to raise our family.
Yep.
And just chasing after God.
You're on a good track. We're
on a great track, you know? And I was going to share the story about me right before we got married, but I'm not going to do that.
Oh, now you got to do it.
You really? Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Well, it's kind of
got no time limits here.
All right. So this is just my life, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what God was thinking when he created me, man, but it. So years ago, I had lived in South Sioux City, Nebraska for a short stint. I got arrested for 5th-degree theft. It was just minor, no big deal. Well, I ended up coming back to the Waterloo, Cedar Falls area, and I never took care of that, right?
Yeah.
So it had been haunting me since I was like 19 years old or something like that, you know? And so I'm 22 now, and like, it's 2 weeks before we're getting ready to get married, man. And I'm working for a landscape company, and I get pulled over by the sheriff. And he says, "Hey, you got a taillight out. Can I see your license and registration?" So I show him my license and registration. He comes back and he's like, "All right, you can go. Just make sure you take care of that taillight. But just so you know, you have a warrant in South Sioux City, Nebraska for 5th-degree theft. You should probably take care of that." I had been told that many times before, being pulled over many, many times. I've been in and out of jail multiple times. No big deal. Lets me go. About a mile down the road, here comes them cherries again. Pulls me over. He says, "I'm sorry, sir, but South Sioux City, Nebraska just notified us they want you. So I'm going to have to take you under arrest. I'm going to take you down to county jail. I have to hold you until they come to get you." This is 2 weeks before my wedding day.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm loving Jesus, all that stuff, trying to do all the right things.
Yeah.
And
weddings paid for.
Weddings.
Events booked.
It's a done deal, bro. Like, it's a done deal. I don't even know why her father-in-law let me marry.
Yeah.
Or my father-in-law.
Because he's a Christian, probably.
Yeah, he is. He is. Loves Jesus. That's what got us into the church, you know. And so I spent an entire week in county jail. So now it's a week before my wedding day. And South Sioux City finally comes to get me. And I spend another 3 days in South Sioux City, Nebraska, waiting for a bond and a court date.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's 2 or 3 days before my wedding day. I think it was.
Dude, you're giving me anxiety thinking about this.
Dog. Seriously, like it was chaotic.
The tension in the cell.
Seriously, like I'm getting married on freaking Saturday.
Yeah.
I finally get my court date on Thursday.
Tell me you get out of there.
They gave me a bond of $800. My mom pays cash, and my future wife and future father-in-law drive all the way to South Sioux City, Nebraska to pick me up to bring me home so I can marry his daughter.
On Saturday.
Well, they picked me up Thursday night. And so, yeah, we literally sleep day before the wedding. We sleep again, wedding day.
Oh, man, what a mess.
Never a dull moment.
What a mess.
Never a dull moment. But we cleaned that all up. Thank God. Thank God. So, man,
sorry, that was a bit of a backtrack, and I made you tell that story.
You did.
So
You
bring
did.
me back to present day. You told your son that you chose him.
Yeah. I told my son that I chose him. That was a great moment for us that we shared together. At least I did. He was probably a little bit too young, but I remind him now, even today.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? So he's 24, so I get to remind him, like, I got to choose you. I tell him that, and so I started working at a place called Matthias Landscaping.
Yeah.
And the owner,
Doug.
Doug, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
So Doug became like a role model to me. Like I learned about what leadership looked like, to an extent. I just learned how to just kind of be a man and work. He taught me how to lead people with efficiency, not so much with good character. That I'll get into the story with that a little bit, but like he taught me things about that I missed out on. Yeah.
So another guy that came into your life that poured into you and gave you the connection that you have been looking for.
Exactly. And here's what the key ingredient is he noticed me. He noticed me like right away. Like he could see that I had talent. He could see that I had skills, that I was a hard worker, that I like my goal all the time when I was clean. I want to be the hardest worker in the room. I want to be the hardest worker in the room. And I proved that. And I remember like my first year there, he's like, you're going to be a foreman. Like, I want you leading my crews. So he noticed me, man. And I crave that. So he was like the first.
It gave you some purpose.
Absolutely.
And it aligned with your passion to actually do that kind of work too.
Yeah.
So now you've got passion and purpose.
Yep. And I'm providing for my family.
Yeah.
And I'm providing for my
all
family.
is well in the world.
All is well in the world. I mean, everybody's slapping me on the back, clapping my hand, saying, you're doing great. I mean, there was even points and times where, there was times where Bree didn't have to work because I was able to put it on my shoulders and get it done. Obviously that changed after a while, but yeah, I worked there for about 10 years, 11 years. Built a great relationship with Doug. We balanced each other out. He had the efficiency and how to run and be a leader, and I had the good character on how to treat people. And we balanced each other out big time. And it was a good combo. And then, so obviously I'm running crews.
You're a leader of men.
I'm a leader of men. And then I became the leader of all the men. Like he created a new position for me called senior foreman. And so basically anytime that I came on scene, I became the leader of whatever crew that I was on, or if we had multiple crews. And eventually he was going to, I was going to get some percentage of the business, but that's when my mom passed away. And, yeah, man, it was crazy because like we kind of knew it was coming. We just didn't know when. She had cancer. She had lung cancer. And, so she passes away. And
was it abrupt or was it?
No, I mean, she was in a nursing home.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of progressive. Like my mom, she was a great mom. She was a great mom to me. She was, but she struggled with mental health. She struggled. So she wasn't an overcoming type person. So when she found out the word of cancer, I remember one time when, they had noticed there was something on her lung, and I remember praying with her, and she would just get upset. And I'd say, Mom, you got to hold on to hope.
Yeah.
You've got to hold on to hope because that's what we have.
God grants miracles to the faithful.
Absolutely. And then I remember when the doctor came in and said it was cancer, I remember her yelling at me and she said, you told me to hope. And so like when she just wasn't like, she wasn't a mental overcomer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get it.
And so it took her pretty quick. she went through the nursing home. She moved out of her own place. She moved in with her sister for a little bit, and then she moved into a kind of an apartment, and she was alone, and it didn't do very well there. And then eventually she had to finally move into a nursing home, and that's where the cancer took her. And it's like, it's coming, but like, you're not prepared for that moment.
Nobody prepares for that. You can't prepare for that. Nobody knows what it's like to lose a parent. I don't know what it's like to lose a parent.
No. It was like the first person that I'd ever lost that was close to me. I mean, I had grandparents that died like when I was 10 and 6 years old, but like, I didn't have anybody like close to me die, and then it was my mom be the first one. I'm in my early 30s, and so there was a night where my family's like, hey, just, we're going to take the kids, you and Bree, just have a night, just unwind, do whatever it is you got to do. And some friends of ours, I don't even remember how it even came up, invited us over to their house. Say, hey, just come on over. I know you guys are going through it. They weren't from the church or anything like that. They were kind of from our past, but from the outside looking in, it looked like they had their life together. They worked at John Deere. They owned their own home. Invited us over for just a few drinks and some dinner. And right after dinner, we went downstairs and we played some cards, and then the meth pipe came out.
And you being in a emotionally weakened state.
Yep.
What'd that conversation look like between you and Bree?
We just looked at each other like, are we going to do this? And it was like, yep. Because in that decision, in that moment, I justified into thinking it was just going to be a weekend ordeal.
Yeah.
I thought in my mind, like, okay, we'll smoke a little here.
Yeah.
I'll get a little bit to take with us.
Just one.
And that virtually started the biggest spiral and pit hole of our life. It was horrible.
Yeah, because you can't get off the roller coaster, can you?
You can't. You could try, but I just couldn't get off of it. Yeah, man.
A little bit more to get by today.
Yep.
I don't want to go through the withdrawals.
Yeah.
A little bit more to get by today.
Yeah, man. So obviously my job went. Like, I remember he gave me like a week and a half off to kind of do that, and I remember calling Doug and be like, "Hey, man, still not ready to come back to work, man. I'm still pretty brokenhearted, lying, you know what I mean?" And he gave me another week, and then I tried to come back, and I was high, dude, and I was leading crews, man. I was, operating.
But it had to be evident, though.
Yeah, I was operating multiple, thousands of dollars pieces of equipment, you know what I mean? And being in charge of, multiple thousands of dollars, like $100,000 projects, you know what I mean? Like huge projects, commercial projects. Like I would come in and I would be in charge of that. And I'm talking to all the other general contractors. I'm leading the crews, you know what I mean? So that, I'm not bragging, but that takes a little bit of high level of leadership, organization,
brain capacity.
You
got to be able to do math, have conversations, and be very fluent in.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone. It was very evident. And so I remember I would come to work late, and I remember one day I overslept, and I got up and my work truck was gone. And I knew right then I was done. I knew he'd come to pick up my work truck. I broke that man's heart, man.
Dude.
I broke that man's heart. And man.
Have you ever been able to reconnect with him?
I did a few years after, and I wasn't like completely 100% to where I am today. I need to go back and have a good conversation with him. I know my wife's ran into him a couple of times.
Yeah. I
need to maybe take him out to dinner or just, have that convo and just kind of share some things that we talked about with him being a leader in my life and being appreciative of him. But that was, one of the first ones that I broke their heart, man. And, cause he gave his all for me. He was going to be willing to gift me part of his company as an investment for me to stay long term with him. You know what I mean? So you can only imagine, what that looks like. from his standpoint. And so, man,
It's not the scars that we have to bear. It's the scars that the ones that you love the most or the ones that did the most for you have to bear.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's all good. Like I said before, the things that have happened to us have shaped and molded us
That's right.
to the people that we are today.
That's right.
They truly have,
So how did you come out of that?
Took a minute.
Yeah.
Took a minute.
I'm sure it did.
So shortly after we started using, meth had convinced Bree that I wasn't her person. And I don't say that in a way like it was her fault. I don't say that at all, because eventually it was going to happen either way. One of us was going to split from the other. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? And so she left. And really what happened was like about 2.5 years of a spiral of her doing good, me doing good, like back and forth. And we would take the kids back and forth and just trying to keep it all together somehow, some way, in the mix of the chaos and the instability, the housing, food. I don't know how, except for God, that we were able to keep it together. Because on the inside, it was just a mess.
Yeah.
It was an absolute chaotic mess.
Yeah. I can remember at some of the points when I would drink, I think what happens when you use, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, is that you develop this internal dialogue, that you start kind of projecting what your own insecurities that you think the other people are thinking or saying in their head about you, right? And that was my biggest one. I'm not enough, and she knows it. I'm a bad dad, and they'd be better off without me. That kind of stuff, right? And then you're just like, well, I'm just gonna use, and that's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? I'll be fine. Yep. I'll just use, and this will be what's like takes care of me. This is my escape from having to actually deal with those things and have those hard conversations, right? Yep. And I think it's the enemy in your head having that dialogue and telling you what about your own self and making you project that on other people.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what really truly ruins relationships.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's, and you that inner dialogue doesn't go away until you get sober. It doesn't.
I mean, even when you get sober, you still have inner dialogue.
Yeah.
Still have to have inner dialogue, because there's times where, you know what I mean? You might feel like you're on the mountaintop, but there are times when challenges come, and you still have to have, I still have affirmations that I say to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Reminding me of who I am.
Yeah.
Whose I am.
Whose you are.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because there is an enemy that's out there that wants to take you down, that he wants to get you in a lonely spot all by yourself, into your thinking. And we all know what happens with that when we go down that dialogue, like you talked about, that inner dialogue, and it's a slippery slope. So you've got to maintain that those good voices in your head. Be okay saying like positive things to yourself. It's not weird. It's not weird. I remember back when I started saying affirmations, and I remember I wrote them all out, and I didn't believe a damn word that was on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
I'm a good father. You know what I mean? I'm a good husband. I'm an example to my children. You know what I mean? Like all these things, like I communicate well. You know what I mean? Like I didn't believe a damn word those things said. Yeah. But eventually through time, consistency plus predictability over time, you know what I mean? I began to build my self-image, and I started to actually believe those things. And the funny thing is I started acting that way. You know what I mean? Like I started acting in the ways that I was speaking, even though I didn't believe it in the beginning. but I started acting in those ways. And then once I started acting in those ways, I started to trust myself, and I started looking in the mirror and like, man, wow, I am a good father. Like I am a good husband. Wow. I am doing the things that I need to do to provide. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. That's good. Tangent.
That's good. That's so good.
Yeah. Affirmations.
You have to have positive affirmations with yourself. I keep some on hand as well.
Yeah.
Because there are days, even still, like over 3 years of sobriety for me, there are still days where I feel that I fall short.
Yep.
And you have to be able to pick yourself back up in order to be able to be the person that you got to be for your family, for your wife, for your kids, for your parents, for your brother, you know, like that's, and for your friends.
Yeah.
And people that you have invested in, you know, and for the people that have invested in you. I've got a lot of people that invested in me. Yep. And, you know, I want to hold myself accountable so I can be the person that they told me I am.
Let's go, baby. I love it.
So, yeah.
So, tangent over?
Yeah. Check.
So, yeah, man, kids are going back and forth. We're just trying to keep our life together. I mean, she's with other people. I'm with other people.
That's got to be rough.
The whole negative thing in that, you know, witnessing that.
Sucks.
Seeing it on both ends.
Because you still love her.
Oh, man.
You still adopted her son.
Still. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure she felt the same way too, you know, with me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to think the timeline on this, but there was a point in time where she was doing good and I wasn't. And in order for me to be able to see the kids, I basically had to go to rehab. So I did that whole thing, graduated, and then we went back and forth, not doing good and doing good. And like, finally I got to the point where I just felt like I had been such a failure at being a father, such a failure at, you know, trying to get my life together that I just couldn't do it, man. Like I just couldn't do it. And I finally decided, I'm like, man, I'm going to go live with my dad. I think I just need to escape from this. Because last time I went down to my dad's house when I had structure, I was away from everything. I was around positive people. And so I approached my dad with it and he said, yeah, come on down. And he actually let me come down there. And at that point, you know, even before that, like we had a rehabilitation from all of our things that we had from the past, kind of the things that I had mentioned earlier about the abuse and, you know, some of the other stuff we had forgiven.
You guys did the repair work that you needed to do.
We did. It wasn't where it needed to be, but we had done some background work, you know. And I guess side note, a lot of that started because of me though. Like we expect the older person to take the forefront on that. In this situation, and this isn't nothing negative on my dad. So I'm not dogging my dad. He didn't have that maturity when it comes to relationships, but I had to do that.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't done that, we wouldn't have the relationship that we have today. You know, I remember having conversations with Bree and this was back when we were doing good. And, you know, we would have conversations and she would just say, you know, you're going to have to be the one to make the first move. You're going to have to be the one to repair this. And it ended up working out pretty good. So, man, anybody out there that you've got an issue with your father currently and he's still alive and you've got some wounds and some things that you need healed up and you're expecting your father to make the first move, man, don't be silly, man. Yeah. Just make the move. Yeah. Make the move. And you'll be glad you did, because one day our earthly father is not going to be here anymore. And for me, the reason why I didn't want to have those regrets. I didn't want him to pass away one day and be like, man, I wish I would have reached out to my dad and just said, you know, I'm sorry, and not waiting for him to say I'm sorry first.
Yeah. I could go on a big tangent about this. There's so many men that I talk with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably counseling isn't the right word. Coaching maybe more, just or offer like time to talk to people, and that's one of the biggest stepping stones that a man can do is forgive his father for some of the things that the father doesn't even maybe know. Right. Or maybe it's known and they just don't talk about it. They just shoved it down and they never talked about it because the age of our parents, Jason, is a generation that says, shut up, stuff it down, let it go. We don't need to repair this. This doesn't need to be repaired. I'm still your dad, and that's who they are. Yeah. Right. But if you do take the time to go to your dad. Yeah. And or your mom, because a lot of times guys have mom drama too, right? 100%. But if you take the time to do that and say, hey, I forgive you. Yeah. And some of them will be like, oh yeah, no. Oh, okay. Like they'll be thrown off by it. But like if you take the time to say, there was something that you did to me that maybe you didn't realize that hurt me. Yep. And I need you to know that I forgive you for it. Yep. And in addition to that, there's probably a lot of ways that I hurt you. Yep. Or took time away from our relationship where we could have used that time to grow our relationship that I'm very sorry for. Yep. Yep. There's change that happens in that, man. Because that's that opens up just a flood of emotions in a father and a son or a mother and a son's relationship. Absolutely. That allows you to go back in time and make those repairs because you can't like fully mature and move forward from that stuff until you repair it. Yep. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've taught my kids is no matter how like angry they get at me or how angry I get at them, or like if we had, I mean, I'm an alcoholic that had problems with emotional regulation, right? Like, so I'd blow up and scream at my kids and I'd just ignore them afterwards. You know what I mean? And I'd never repair it. I've gone back and asked for forgiveness for all of those 100%. Times. Yes. Because you have to, because they're sitting there like, man, I don't even know how to talk to you, dude, because like, that's the way that you resolved conflict with me back in the day. And that wasn't a good lesson for me. I took that into the world and it didn't work for me. Right. You know what I mean? But if you teach them how to repair every single time, and even I've had situations where people have come at me in front of my kids and said like some stuff to me and like I'll show my kids that I'm willing to forgive. Yeah. And that's a good lesson. It's a great lesson. Because now they can take that lesson and when conflict erupts in their life, they're able to say, oh, my dad forgave. Yep. I should forgive. Yep. Or my dad asked for forgiveness. And we were able to move forward from there. Yeah. Because that's not what we were taught to do, man. No, man. A lot of the dads in our generation weren't taught that way. Nope. You know what I mean? No, eye for an eye. Yeah. Yeah, eye for an eye. So, and it takes 3 generations to make a generational change. Yeah. So we got to do the work. Come on, man. Let's get it. So that's, anyway, sorry, tangent. You brought that puppy up and I was like, dude, that's a hot spot for me. That's what because we're supposed to do, there is so much progress that I made in my life because of that. Yep. You can't leave things unresolved. You got to do the repair work. You got to. If you're willing to blow up on somebody or somebody's willing to blow up on you, you got to be able to forgive them and you got to be able to say you're sorry. Yep. 100%. Jesus calls us to love. Yep. That is what we're not called to be political. We're not called to be professional. We're called to love. Right. And that's what the Bible says that we're supposed to do. Yep. No matter what. Which isn't easy. All 10 commandments hinge on love God above everything else and love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. Give everybody as much grace as I've given you. Let's go. So there you go. Sorry. Tangent over. Sorry, man. Good stuff, man. Give this man a microphone. Come on now. Let's go. Man, that's good stuff. We'll have to have a few more of those tangents. Yeah, I feel like we will. Oh, man. So, I moved down to my dad's house. Yep. Doing good, kind of, but I'm away from my kids. I don't even know why I would even, obviously I'm not healthy enough to make good decisions, but hindsight, I think it was a terrible decision to move away from my family and kids. But but Bree was, she was doing well. There was another guy and kids were
seemed like they were happy. And I just thought, well, while that's going on, I'll just repair me, you know? And I thought that going to my dad's house would be the right decision to do. And ended up getting a job down there pretty quickly. I don't think I had a car at the time, but I ended up, did I have a car? Yeah, I did have a car. I had a van. And, so I'm working at Menards. I'm working at Fairway. I'm just working as much as I possibly can to save as much money as I possibly can. Just trying to work on me, but no guidance really in that. And I didn't go back to my spiritual life either.
Yeah.
Which ended up.
So you're drifting.
Oh man, quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly. And, so I go to the bar, you know, I find some friends there and I end up joining a pool league. You know, I go there late at night and just have a few drinks, you know what I mean? Then I felt like I could just have a few drinks or whatever, you know, for the most part. And I ended up on a pool league, and I don't know how long I'd been at my dad's at this point, but it's October 15th of 2017, I think it is. And opening night of pool league, having drinks. I didn't feel like I had that many drinks, but I must have. I don't think it was a blackout thing, but I must have had plenty of drinks. And I'm coming home and I'm doing 65 miles an hour. I'm going down the highway. I've got my cell phone in my hand. I'm texting and driving. And there's a semi. Like, I don't remember this. This is just all from witnesses who watched the accident. But there's a semi that had a green arrow, and he's turning in, and I'm coming up over the hill, and I'm texting and driving, and then I hit the rear axles of his trailer doing 65 mile an hour, no seatbelt.
You said no seatbelt?
No seatbelt. So I wake up in the emergency room 4 hours later, and the first thing that I said was, did I get an OWI? And the nurse, I'll remember this to my day, she comes down and she goes, shh, I think you've suffered enough. Just be quiet. And she's like, no, you don't have an OWI. And I couldn't open my eyes. And so then shortly after I wake up, they rush me down to Iowa City. I mean, my entire right eye is exploded, my eyelid, everything. I've got staples all the way from the front of my head to the back of my head. I got staples in the front of my head. I had over 100 and some stitches all the way out through my entire skull. Even today, my cranium is still sunken in from the impact that was created. I spent a week in Iowa City. I had to go through plastic surgery. And even to this day, I'm pretty much predominantly blind in my right eye because of that decision that I made. And which presented all kinds of more challenges, you know?
Yeah. Because now you got physical.
Now I got physical challenges.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the cool thing that I can definitely look back on that whole situation is that I can only think of one time when I had a mini pity party about it. I've always had the belief that I did that to me. Like, I did that. Like, so don't you dare whine and cry about your circumstance that you're in currently because you can't see out of your right eye anymore. Don't you dare. You did that. You drank. You texted and drove. You ran into that semi. You did this to you. Deal with it. And that mentality has helped me a lot overcome that.
That's accountability. That's ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I would have done that with my addiction a lot sooner, but
but would have made everything a lot easier.
You know what I mean? But that is how I've been able to overcome. And even today, it's kind of weird. Like, I can still shoot a basketball like crazy. Like, I'm even a little bit of a better shot than I was. It's weird. I don't know. It's just like a God thing, or if I got to focus in on it. And depth perception can be challenging, but so I mean, that just created even more of a story. And then shortly after that, I heard that, you know, that the kids weren't doing very well, and that Bree wasn't doing very well. Somebody gave me a call and said, hey, Jay, you need to come back home. And went back home. Of course, I'd been clean from meth for a while now, 6 months, 4 or 5 months now. For that effect, timeline's blurry.
Yeah.
But I go back and.
Do you remember the date? Do you remember the last day? The
No.
last time? Okay.
No, I've never been a counter.
Gotcha.
I was never one of those guys.
Some of us have that gift. Some of us do not.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, man. Details matter, but those ones never did matter to me.
Gotcha.
Because I failed so many times. I got sick and tired of resetting the counter.
Yeah.
My gosh. But I go back, man, and there it was again. Meth again. And I was using again, but at the same time, then I end up taking the kids. I moved in with this girl, and she helped me kind of get established a little bit more. And she helped me get established a little bit more, take the kids. We were able to bring her to their house, and just kind of help them and get them back on their feet. Me try to get me back on my feet too, trying to use and then not use and then use and then not use. And it's at this point now in my life where I feel like I'm really starting to get fed up with my decisions that I'm making. And do you I don't know if you have this story, like, or people in your life like that, that God sent them on purpose for a purpose for your life.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
And one of those people for me was Sarah Workmeister.
I know Sarah.
You know Sarah?
Yes, I do.
So back when I lived at this chick's house, Sarah was her next door neighbor. And I remember just meeting her one time, and we never had a relationship, nothing like that. It was never like that. It was completely just a great friendship. And I would go over to her garage and we would talk about God. And it was in those moments that the Holy Spirit started working back on me again, started reigniting that fire of
where two or more are present.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and literally, like, here I am, and we're having these conversations. We're in her garage. We're talking about God and Jesus, and she's doing her thing with kind of like, she kind of recorded her life and that kind of thing. And it just reignited a lot of things. It didn't fix anything at the moment, but she was a place that I could go be like, man, I messed up again.
Yeah. And
she would talk to me about it, and she would just remind me who I was and that I'm better than that, and remind me of Jesus. And it's crazy. And I ended up getting homeless there for a little while. Like I ended up not being with that girl that was living next door. And we were gearing up pretty close to being homeless, like legit, like me and 5 kids, no house, nowhere to go. And Sarah was getting ready to go on a trip to Florida for 2 weeks. And mind you, like, she knows my history, she knows my past, but she's gotten to know me over a little while. And she says, hey, just stay at my house. You can stay here. And so I was able to bring my 5 kids and myself. And who does that, man? Like,
people that are sent by God.
Who does that?
Angels.
And seriously, like, how people come into your life for a reason and a season and a lifetime.
Yeah.
Like,
I know exactly what that means.
She'll be a lifetime friend of mine. We don't communicate all the time anymore, but obviously that closeness is still there.
Yeah.
But there was a reason and there was a season of my life that it was her presence and her significance and what she spoke into me and what she was speaking about started the road back to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it allowed me to be able to get back on my feet. I got a job again. And I was able to save up enough money. And then at this point in time, I started dating another girl. And
we're just creatures of habits, man. Just bad habits, dude. We're just gluttons for punishment, aren't we? Aren't we?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Huh. But there was good and bad seasons in that for sure. But we ended up getting a house in Troubles. So we moved like 30 miles away. Once again, thinking like I can just move away from my problems.
Yeah, run from it.
So that was August of 2016. We moved to Troubles. Bree's doing her thing. We're moving to Troubles. And spats of in and out, man. Got into AA a little bit because this is when alcohol started to play a role in my life. Like I would convince myself I could have a few drinks, and it's so funny. If you want something, you'll find it. And I ended up finding meth and Tripola. I ended up finding
Of course.
it was easy. I could sniff it out anywhere. I seen it. I could find it. I could sniff it out. You know the traits and characteristics of people, and you manipulate your way into their life, not because you want to be friends with them, because you want what they have.
Yep.
And so yeah, man. So yeah, that's August of 2016. That's when that started. Kids are all in school. Eventually I ended up breaking up with that girl. And I have the kids just with me at this point in time. And I want to say it was the summer of, would it be 2017? No, 2017, I want to say, I think. The summer of Bree goes to jail, my wife. And when she went to jail, she started writing us. And previous to that, there would be so many times where she would like call me. And if she was just needed a rescue, or she was just in a lonely moment or something like that, she always called me. I remember one time she was at a gas station and she had no money. She was on a bike, and I remember going to get her and just going to rescue her. You know what I mean? And there was times where she rescued me, or she would be a help to me too. And like, there was always that. There was
always a give and take.
Always, man. Always.
The relationship was never severed. Even though y'all weren't together.
Right.
There was still love there.
There was still love there.
Yeah.
There was still a mutual love and respect for each other. And so she goes to jail and she starts writing us. And I thought it was BS, because it was all BS. I would read a little bit of it and I'd put it down, and she would be writing to the kids, and I didn't even show it to the kids. That broke her heart. Which, of course, she's trying to get her life right, but I just thought it was BS. And even though that mutual respect was there, like, I was still broken from us not being together. So I didn't trust. I didn't believe. Shoot, it was because I didn't even believe myself.
Yeah.
A lot of the self-image stuff that I knew that I was capable of, you know what I mean? I was probably projecting onto her too, So I just didn't believe. And then so she gets out of jail and she goes into the facility, and this is when she really starts sharing with me how God had spoke to her.
Yeah.
And legit, God had told her that he would give her the desires of her heart, and that was to have her family back. And I'm like, woman, you're crazy. I'm not trying to be with you, And, but remember that consistency plus predictability over time equals trust.
Yeah.
She didn't budge. She was a rock. A rock. She fought hard. Like, when you want something so bad and you're not going to quit until you get it, that was my wife. That was my wife. She didn't quit. And through time, I was just able to see the consistency in her life, and that just motivated me to want to do good. It's like, man, I can do this too. I can do this too. And I remember it's getting to be the end of 2017. She's getting ready to gear up to be out of the facility. We're literally driving. Like, I didn't even have a driver's license at this moment in time. So my son, who's 16, is driving our car to Waterloo from Tripola to go visit mom in the facility. She gets to see the kids, and she gets to see me, and she's over sitting on my lap, and I'm like, man, this is weird. But it felt good. And and finally we decide we're gonna really try to do this thing. And so she was supposed to get out a little bit before Christmas, and there was a situation that happened that just didn't allow her to be able to do it. And we end up getting a new place in like January, February of 2018. And it was our restart.
Come on.
It was our restart. Started going to Hope City.
That'll make an impact in your life.
For the city, man. I mean, it's just so back when we were doing good before, we were in youth ministry under Pastor Dustin Cox.
Yeah.
And so, he's the associate pastor there at Hope City. And then we've known Pastor Q for years too, because he would come in and do things with the youth group there. And just, he had a relationship with Dustin for years. So we had kind of built a relationship. And I remember one time when Bree was in rehab, I remember Angela coming to visit Bree and really speaking life into her, because there's a story back, they knew each other from back in the day. Like Angela's dad and Bree's dad were friends. They were on like a fishing league together. And so like, there's just all these things that just start tying together. You know what I mean? And so like, once we decided like, hey, like we need to find a church home, it was Hope City all the way. And then the moment we walked through the door, you feel loved, you feel like you're at home.
Yeah. Like family.
Like family,
He always says that.
Yeah. You're not you're not just a visitor. We want you to feel like your family, So yeah. So man, we're just progressively just getting, we're starting to get better jobs. Things are looking good. The kids are starting to thrive. You could see a change, especially in my daughter, Alana. So we have 5 kids, Dylan, Daniel, Anessa, Alana, and David. And I would say probably the one that was mostly impacted relationally was Alana. But when mom came back into the picture and dad was in the picture together and mom was truly thriving, just even the young woman that she is today. They
accelerate at a higher pace.
They did.
Because they have the role models in their life that they need.
Especially
and they're receiving the lessons as you go.
Yeah.
Because they see what good looks like and they mimic that.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Our children, and I think I even might have mentioned this earlier before, they're not necessarily always going to follow what we say. But damn it, they're going to follow your example. And it might not show up for years, but we're just seeing the fruit in that, which I'll get into a little bit later. We're seeing the fruit in that and the example that we were able to set to overcome, to have a victory story in all of this, and it's, I see it shaping out in every one of my kids' lives. But it was all those moments of the things that I would try to say and have those lessons. Those never meant anything more than the example that we showed them.
Yeah.
It never meant any more than that. So yeah, man, started going to Hope City. We started getting involved there. And another turning point in our life was, so there was this guy at church, seemed like the coolest guy. And he was, and I'm out there. I was serving on the parking lot team, and I'm serving with this guy, Lee Carroll. He passes away, rest his soul. Great guy. And I'm like, hey, man, that's a cool dude. He's like, yeah, that's my financial advisor. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, he's a financial advisor. I'm like, okay. And so I literally walk up to Bree afterwards, and I say, hey, that dude over there? Like, that seems like he's pretty cool. She's like, yeah. It's like, I hear he's a financial advisor. I was like, man, our life is good. Like, we're on track spiritually. Family's doing well.
Yeah.
Finances still kind of suck. We need to figure this thing out, right? She's like, yeah. I was like, I think I'm going to go up and I'm going to talk to him. Just see if he can offer any kind of guidance, for me or for us. So I did. Then what it ended up being is we ended up getting connected to a local group of entrepreneurs that provided an environment and a system for us to thrive.
Yeah.
Like legit, like the association of people that are involved with these entrepreneurs is just, it's second to none.
Yeah.
Like,
Show me who you spend your time with and I'll show you what your life is going to look like. Right.
absolutely. You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Yeah.
And that's the
And when you get really good-minded people who are in business for themselves,
yes.
were they connected to their faith?
Oh, that's another drawing
Is
point.
that the bedrock?
That was the bedrock.
Yeah.
Is that as I got to know these men and these couples and people in this association, is that there was faith involved too. And it's like, and it wasn't always about business. It was about souls on board. Like, who can we help?
Yeah.
Who can we bring along to help improve their life? How can we get involved into people's lives where it's not just, and I'm not saying anything negative about church, because church has plenty of different programs.
Yeah.
Through all types of
But not
things,
all of them.
But how can we get involved in people's lives so we can help them with their self-image and their people skills?
Right.
We can help them with their finances. We can help them with their association. We can help them with thinking long-term and thinking about the future. You know what I mean? And so these entrepreneurs put books in my hands. You know what I mean? Like all the things that I'd always craved from like the AA programs and the rehab. This was my rehab. This was my rehab. I was reading books like The Compound Effect, Think and Grow Rich, Atomic Habits. You know what I mean?
Good books.
Dynamic People Skills.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Let's go.
100%. Like all these books. And I'm like, man, I've been looking for this. This is what I've been looking for. You know, my whole life I've been looking for this. And it's like, and that is what really propelled us. Obviously, God first. God first, but God put us in an association of people that could plug us into what we needed
There you go.
for growth.
Yeah.
Because there was always a lack of leadership in our life. We, nothing negative against our parents, but the thing about it is that as a parent, if you don't overcome things in your life, you automatically pass that down to your children.
Yeah. It's called that. There's a big study on family of origin stuff. Like my very good friend, John Church, he's a Christian counselor.
Yeah.
And he talks about like you get a tool bag from your parents on how to like problem solve.
Yeah.
In your life. Right. And you take that tool bag and you go and you apply it to all the problems that you've got in your life when they arise. Right. And you realize that you don't necessarily have all the tools.
None.
Right. Like, oh gosh, I'm not equipped for this one. You mean getting pissed off and screaming and yelling about something that I don't agree with isn't the right way to deal with it?
Exactly.
Right. But then like when you like connect to the Holy Spirit, you find out that there's more tools.
Yeah. Legit. 100%. And that's exactly what it was. It was tools. It was mentorship. It was tools. It was guidance. It wasn't people that were giving us answers, but they were giving us a direction.
Yeah.
And we clung on to it.
Yeah.
We clung on to that. And so that was a huge turning point.
When the student is ready, the teacher arrives.
Amen. And we were ready.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like we had ever got approached with it. It was like we were hungry enough to go find it.
Yeah.
Like we had always known in our life that we were meant for more. Like I remember there was a moment in our life when we were on our come up again where we're just like, there's got to be more. There has to be more than just going to a job, working for somebody else's dream, and going home and giving our kids the rest. And that's not that that's a bad thing. It's not. Jobs aren't bad, but that's how it felt to us.
Yeah.
It felt to us because we were doing hard labor jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tough jobs that
Yeah.
were tough physically, tough and demanding hourly.
Yep.
And so we've always known we were made for more. We just didn't know how.
I love that song too, by the way.
Oh man. Man. So yeah. And I would say also, and you had touched on that too about it spiritually as well. That's where, things really started to change spiritually for us, at least for me, that I started to begin that all in path. And so at this point, I still relapsed, I think 2 more times. I still relapsed 2 more times. And, the last relapse, Nick, dog, like if I ever have thoughts about like having a drink sometimes now or using, I don't necessarily think that I think about using. I always think about drinking first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever think about using meth.
Right.
But it's always, usually I can have a drink or so. I try to picture the brokenness in my wife's face that last time. Like, you know that song Gyra?
Yeah.
It
I know it well. It's on my playlist. Number 4.
Dog, like when I relapsed the second time, I would come home every night to that song just blaring, and my wife just bawling. Just bawling.
Yeah.
Crying out to God. Just giving it to God and just seeing the brokenness in her face. Like the disappointment in my kids' face and their demeanor. They wouldn't always say it, but you could just tell. And like, I had a couple spats of drinking after that. I don't mean to minimize it by just saying a couple. Like, I didn't use meth again. Thank God. God bless my wife.
Yeah.
For being a rock and truly standing behind what God had promised her in that jail cell and living it out. Because I don't know where I would be without her.
Yeah, she's not halfway in.
No.
She's all the way.
She's all the way in.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that brokenness and I just remember I can hear the cries and the sobs. I can see the disappointment in my kids' face, and I was like, man, that's enough. That bro, you gotta be done. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the rest of your life. If you don't fix this, it's never gonna change.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna have what you've always wanted. And you know, things really started to change, man. Like, got better jobs. I mean, I think Bree was arrested for a theft charge years ago, and then she ends up managing a Casey's. She's handling like thousands of dollars, like managing a Casey's. You know what I mean? It's like, it's nothing but a God story. Like, seriously, man. So we're still living in Chipotle at the time. We're doing well, involved with the entrepreneurs, just getting better jobs, and just life is just progressively. It's working. It's getting better. The relationships are getting better. And God truly did a good work in us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think one of the questions.
If you're not dead, God's not done. He's always working to make your life better.
Always. Always.
And if you just lock in on what he's got for you,
100%.
and stay obedient.
Yeah. Yeah. He was able to, like, with our submission to him, like, we were able to come out of the fire. Now, we still had scars, but we didn't smell like smoke. You know, we didn't smell like smoke anymore. We smelled like victory.
I like that.
Because we learned that we weren't fighting for victory anymore. We were fighting from victory. And that we were already victorious. And that we were already winning in life. And that the only thing that could stop us from that was us. And so we ended up moving back to Cedar Falls. That would be August of 2 years ago. So yeah, we're almost coming up on 2 years now of moving back to Cedar Falls. And I remember first moving in, and I legit had to pinch myself. I had to pinch myself because, I mean, fenced in backyard, long driveway, basketball hoop in the driveway, 2-stall garage, 3-season porch. Enough bedrooms that all of my children could have their own room.
Yeah.
And my wife and I could have our own room. There was a dining room. Man, it was like I had to pinch myself, and I had to really be reflective on. There was a moment in my life where I didn't know where my kids were going to sleep one night. And here we are. There was a moment, one of the coolest moments, my son, Daniel, it was months later after we moved in, and he looks out the window. It was maybe about a year later, and we're all just kind of sitting it was me and him sitting in the living room, and he's staring out the window, and he gets up. He's like, Dad, look out the window. Count those cars. 1, 2, 3, 4. You remember when we didn't have nothing? Dad, do you remember when we had nothing? He said, Dad, we done came up. Those were his exact words.
Came up.
We done came up, Dad.
Yeah.
That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
It just goes back to not what you say, but the example you set to your children.
That's what it's all about, man.
You know, and it was a cool moment. And yeah, so it kind of brings us to a little bit to present day today. You talk about cleaning up messes, man. I mean, that's the whole vibe with and man, I think you asked me this question too in your questionnaire, and you're like, what's the biggest mess you cleaned up? Dude, our entire mother freaking life, bro. Like our entire life, man. Like it's a complete God story for sure. But we went through battles I know today because I know people are going to relate. And we went through this probably not always just for us. It was for others too. But man, like we literally went from death to life.
Yeah.
Legit death. I mean, I've made decisions that probably should have landed me in prison for my entire life.
Or dead.
And the same with Bree.
Or dead.
Yeah. There's been multiple occasions that we probably should have been gone forever or dead. Car accident, the whole nine. And here we are today. I mean, our kids are thriving, dude.
Yeah.
Like legit. Like my oldest son, he's had to battle some demons.
Yeah.
But because of the example we set, he's now reaching out to us, fighting those demons with us. Man, he just called me the other day, man. He was just having a stressful moment. And he goes, Dad, I've just had a terrible day, man. But you can usually calm me down, man. Can you just talk to me? If we wouldn't have fought the battles that we fought, that conversation would have never happened.
Right.
He never would have trusted me.
If you wouldn't have repaired it, if you wouldn't have gone back and done the work, he never would have been able to reach out.
He never would have been.
And he'd
he
still
wouldn't
be
have
stuck in his own mess.
Exactly. And where would he go for advice on that? The internet? Some other random dude?
Right.
No, he was
probably
able to
not the
come
right
to
place.
He was able to come to his father.
Yeah.
Man.
To his dad.
To his dad, man. And he's thriving, man. He's got goals now. He's got things that he's working
Let's
towards.
go.
And we showed him what it was like to create a mess, and he created his own.
Yeah.
But he's coming out of that now.
Yeah. And cleaning
he's
it up.
having victory in his life, bro. I mean, my son Daniel, he was pressured to go to college by all of his advisors, and he didn't. But we started plugging books into him, like people skills and self-image, and he just came out of high school, and he decided he wasn't going to go to college, and so he started working, and then he finally gets on at Meridian, and now he's been there for I think maybe 2 years now, maybe a year and a half. He's now got multiple promotions. He's now a loan advisor at the age of 20 years old. He's 20, dude. He was in his training with guys that were with college educations. You know what I mean? Like just thriving. You know what I mean? Our daughter, Anessa, she's gearing up to move out. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to talk about what she's been able to accomplish because just her work ethic. Our daughter, Alana, is, so Anessa, like her work ethic, and then the money that she's been able to stack with her work ethic that we've been able to show her as an example is just, she's good.
Yeah.
Like she's good. And our daughter, Alana, just growing.
Are they all faithful?
I want to say they are.
But they still have room to grow.
They have room to grow.
We're all children of God. We can never ever be like, we know it all.
Yeah.
And we're complete in our faith and everything else like that.
Yeah.
God always has a lesson for us.
Yeah.
And I ask if they're faithful just to know that, because I know how rooted in your faith you are.
Yeah.
Have you planted those seeds inside of them? I think that's the better question.
We could have definitely done a better job at that for sure.
Me too.
Like seriously, we could have been on a way better job at a younger age and doing that. And I can't look back and just be regretful of that now. Like I said, I could just set the example. I had a conversation with a mentor of mine, and we were talking about one of the kids, and he asked me, he's like, what's their faith like? And I was like, I don't think it's there, man. And he reminded me, he says, my parents didn't save me. He says, my parents had a faithful background. He says, but my parents didn't save me. I had to make that decision on my own.
Yeah, you had to choose to let the Holy Spirit in. And it took me, I mean, I like you, I grew up Catholic. I had all these seeds planted along the way. But I mean, it wasn't until I was 41 years old that I got baptized.
Seriously.
So
yeah,
you know that, and it does, I think that's what I told my kids when I did my baptism video over at PLC. Part of my message was I'm doing this, and I wanted all my kids here to see, all my boys here to see this. We didn't have our daughter yet. We just found out we were pregnant with our daughter at that point in time, like a week before I got baptized. After fighting infertility for 4 years, found out that we were pregnant with my daughter, and I wanted my boys there to so I could tell them and they could see this happening to me as a 41-year-old man. This thing that you think you're supposed to do when you're a child, it's not that.
Right.
You have to choose it.
Right.
And you can develop a relationship with God at any point in your life.
Right.
And I think that's so important. That's an important lesson, because just because you haven't yet, just because maybe you're not as keyed in as some of the other people in the world are, it's not about comparison. It's not about competition.
Yep.
The connection that you have with God is between you and God.
Amen.
And you can grow that every single day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So dude, I have some questions for you.
Yeah. One really quick before the questions. I don't, if my kids listen to this, I want to continue on with, cause I talked about 3 of them. So So my daughter Alana, she, I told her that she was probably the one that probably was hurt the most by like just the relational thing. Man, she is a completely different person today than she ever was back then. And like, you look back at the transition of her life, and not perfect by any means, still has growth for sure. But like she got invited to take an internship at Hope City this summer.
Let's go.
So she was an intern there, was able to get some mentorship through that. And then also our youngest, our baby boy, David. Man, he's thriving into a young man. Like he's now getting to the age where he's starting to understand and kind of listen to some more success principles. When we do have those moments of lessons, he's starting to apply. I'm watching him starting to apply those into his school, into his sports, and so it's just really cool. So I just want to finish up with and just mention each one of them,
of course,
and the thriving that they've done.
So which one's your favorite? No, I'm just kidding.
What's funny is that I call them all my favorite. Like I say, you're my favorite.
As you should.
I say, you say that to everyone. You say that to all of them. I says, yeah, but I mean it when I say it to you.
Jason.
Yes, sir.
What's your happiest moment as a father?
Oh. There's so many moments that are like, I think the happiest moments I won't necessarily put into a specific category of a moment, singular, but kind of like I've been talking about this entire podcast about the example that we set for our children. And then you get to see your kids walking it out.
Yeah. Seeing that come to fruition is like a magical moment.
It's like, it reminds me of patience. But just kind of like the story of my oldest son, just, the example that we set to him, not so much about what we said, but what we did, and just watching that walk out, with Daniel, just watching him walk out his life, in the example that we set, and the same with all 5 of them. There's just these moments that you get to sit back and just watch, or you just, our family's like a really lovey, huggy family, and
get that from your mom.
Yeah, man. And like, and especially Bree's side of the family is even more huggy and lovey than my side was. And so just in moments when I get to just kind of watch and get to see them interact with people, our 3, well, all of them actually they all help out in Kids City. And just watch them interact and just be patient with other children and just living out a legacy in their life. It's just really cool. So I can't really just say there's a moment. It's just more of those times where you're just like, man,
When you see him doing well.
when you see him doing well,
Yeah.
that's really cool. It's like all those times in life where you feel like, so when you're going through the fire, it feels like you're going nowhere. It really does. Like, especially in the beginning, when you're going through the fire and you're trying to get your life right, it feels like you're going nowhere. And like, man, what is this going to matter?
Yeah.
And then it may not be for like 2 or 3 years until you like see the fruit of it. And you're like, that was it. So be patient with yourself, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. What's the one thing that you want your kids to remember after you're gone about you?
That's deep. That's deep.
Oh, it gets deeper. I got another one.
Come on, man. Hitting me hard. Man. What I want my kids to remember me as after I'm gone. That I set the best example that I could.
Yeah.
That dad worked really hard. Dad worked really hard on himself. Dad worked really hard on them. That I want them to know that I loved their mom.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to look back and, you know, put that into their own relationships. Like, man, Dad really loved mom. Dad really loved mom. I want them to have that, you know, that legacy in their family, you know, long lasting relationships. And I want them to know that I love Jesus with all of my heart. And that's the only way that for me, I could live a successful life is due to that complete 100% submission to him, that it created change in my life. And that when I'm gone and they have those moments, they know that that's where they need to go, because I won't always be there for them, but they know that they have a Father in heaven that is with them always.
Yeah, that's so good. Switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
If you could go back and tell your father something before you were born, what would it be?
I would probably tell my dad that he was enough, that he was good enough, that he was better than the choices that he made, that I would tell him that his past doesn't equal his future, and that failure isn't final, and that he's a good dad.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to be a great father, a great grandfather, and that, yeah, I would tell him that he's enough. I would tell him that he's enough.
That's good. That's good. That's all I got.
Man, this has been a blast.
I know. It's good. It's been great. It's been so good, man. I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Any lasting any dad advice that you want to give to either the people that are listening, the people that are going through something right now, anything that you want to impress upon people as we close this out?
I do. This is kind of like these are maybe not so much dad, but it reflects on being a dad. It's just some personal notes that I've had about sobriety. Yeah. That I think that like, you know, man, there's probably somebody out there, man. It's like, dude, I keep failing. I keep falling. I want change so bad in my life. I don't know what to do and where to go. And I just want to share some lessons that I've learned through these years of maintaining sobriety, really getting things fixed up.
Yep.
Is the number one is you have to have a burning desire to want to change. Yeah. It has to be a burning desire, you know what I mean, that you want to change. That's so good. It has to be driven so deep that you want it so bad. It cannot be lukewarm. You can't sit on the fence. You have to choose. You have to choose either right or wrong. You've got to, because there's an enemy that's out there that's going to remind you of who you are in your past, and he's going to come creeping in. And if you're on the fence, I'm sorry, the fence is his. The fence is his. The fence is the enemy's, and he will yank you off there, and he will pull you right back in easily. You've got to have a burning desire to want to change and maintain.
Stay away from the fence,
man.
Yeah,
oh man, stay away from the fence. You know, Pastor Q was talking about a story about a mentor or whatever. It was a story about a man and a boy, and the man, because a kid was kind of not going to church for a while, and he had kind of come into this mentorship type of role with this guy, and he noticed that he hadn't been to church in the last couple of days, and he invites the boy to come over to his house, and he says, sit down, son. And he doesn't say a word. They're sitting in front of a fireplace, and he goes over to finally, after like a minute or two of silence, he walks over to the fireplace, and he pulls out an ember, and he sets it down on the mantle. And slowly but surely, he watches that orange blazed burning ember turn black. And he looks to the kid and he says, "Do you get it? Do you get it?"
It's got to stay in the fire,
Stay in the fire.
Because if you don't,
stay in the fire. Burning desire.
Yeah.
Burning desire. Number 2, man, embrace failure. Dude, failure is not final. Like, it is not final. Get your ass back up and figure it out.
Dude, you are one of the guests that I could say can emphasize that so much.
Seriously, man.
Failure is not final.
It is not final.
Just because you fall down doesn't mean you can't get back up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're not going to be perfect in your sobriety. It's not going to be perfect, man. And that's why I was never a number counter.
Yeah.
It's just because I failed so many times.
Yeah.
But here's what I didn't do. I didn't stay down. I never stayed down. I got back up. I pulled my bootstraps up. Like I was the king of comeback. I used to piss my wife off so bad. You could just come back so fast. Because I could just figure it out and just get after it again. You know what I mean? So, man, just failure is not final. Just learn from your mistakes. You know, try, fail, adjust. Try, fail, adjust. Try, fail, think, then adjust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, there's another one too that I was going to put as well. Change your association. You have to change your association. Like we talked about this before, is that like that you are the average of the people that you hang out with. You want to hang around skunks, you're going to smell like skunks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So change your association and draw a hard line. There's going to be relationships, dude, that you feel like that are close, that you're just going to have to cut off. You're just going to have to man up and do that. You're just going to have to, period.
Yeah. And as you do that, they'll get it. They'll understand why, because they're going to see what you're doing in your life, and it's not going to fit in with what they're doing in their life anymore.
Yeah.
And it's going to be blatantly obvious as to why.
Yep.
You don't have to explain it. You just have to stop going and hanging out with the wrong people.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
So the one thing, and I just want to impress this upon the audience, for anybody that's listening to this, I ask all my guests before they come on, if people reach out, make sure that you're willing to respond to them. So they can reach you on Facebook, obviously. They can drop you a message. Yeah. If somebody just felt what you said or wanted to drop you a line or get some dad advice from you or some sobriety advice or whatever it may be, or just start to talk to you, because that's what this whole thing is about. That's what Domestic Dad Project is about. It's about creating a community of dads, people that have gone through stuff and come out the other side. And if you're going through it, you can reach out. Yep. So here's another guy. Yeah. That's has not accepted failure as being final. Right. And that has come through the thick of it and is in the fire for God and is in the fire for his sobriety and is in the fire for his family. And if you want to talk to Jason, reach out by all means, please.
100%. Absolutely. Yep. Doors always open. Right on. Yeah. All right, dude. Amen. Love you, man. I love you too. Yeah. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, I want to thank you with all my heart. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps us out.
If you have questions about getting sober, parenting, or personal growth, email Nick at domesticdadproject.com with any questions about cleaning up the messes you've made. And if your question is discussion worthy, we'll feature it in an upcoming episode. Don't forget, you can watch any of these videos uncut and unedited, filmed in my studio from our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for Domestic Dad Project. Also, please follow us on Facebook or share this episode on your social media. You can also join our community by grabbing some merch. It means the world to me to know that this podcast is making a difference in someone's life. And if this episode inspired you to get sober or simply become a better version of yourself, you can claim your free 60-minute coaching session by visiting www.domesticdadproject.com. Let's continue supporting each other to break the stigma around dads reaching out for help, to get our lives on track while navigating the obstacles of fatherhood. Until next time, keep cleaning up the mess.